podcast, and as always, I'm your host, William Liberty, and with me is.
Fawaz Muhammad Yusuf.
And today, we're gonna take it easy, not to end the year, nice calm note. We're gonna talk about our own personal awards for 2016, and so we're gonna talk about what we consider the most anticipated game, best soundtrack, best new IP, biggest surprise, most disappointing, and then the game of the year. But before we get into that, let's talk about what we played this week. So, finally got my hands on Last Guardian.
Hey.
And loving that game. That game is fantastic. It is a fantastic game, and it's been a while since when you're playing a game and I have to stop and just look at how beautiful it is, and just let the atmosphere and the music and the ambient sounds all kind of come through my super surround sound. It's just it's the best, and I really like a lot of the stuff in the game. It's a lot more like Ico. So so it's not like Shadow of the Colossus, but I kind of knew it wasn't going to be like Shadow of the Colossus. Yeah. It wasn't going to be like I'm going to be riding Trico and jumping on other giant monsters and stabbing them with a sword. No, it's not like that at all. I've only really played about, I want to say, half of the game, so I'm about 10 hours in. And I was actually surprised that the game is a lot longer than I thought it was going to be. For some reason, I thought this game was going to be a lot shorter. And I'm actually really happy that it isn't super short.
I was going to say, better to be pleasantly surprised than crushingly disappointed.
Yeah. Music's fantastic. And the only thing that people, or at least the only thing that I had a little bit of problem with,
camera.
Camera's a little bit, but the cameras, I went back to Shadow of the Colossus, and the camera is very similar to the camera in Shadow of the Colossus. And the problem, what it is that the problem is that this is probably a design choice from when this game was still like a PlayStation 3, PlayStation 2 game. And there's a lot of, by this point, people have fixed these problems with the camera. So I feel like that's kind of an oversight. But honestly, and there's a couple of small control things that are a little bit hard to get used to, like for whatever reason, having triangle be jump is always weird for me. I always like having X being jump.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting used to in Shadow of the Colossus.
Yeah, but honestly, if I had to compare it to anything, I'd compare it to like me playing Resident Evil Remake, where the first hour or two was really kind of rough because you're trying to get used to the control scheme and how the game plays, having, in Resident Evil Remake, it's like fixed cameras and there's no aiming and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But once you get past that and you get, okay, this is what the game's going for, it's a lot of fun. It's a really, really fantastic game, and I'm really, really enjoying it. And yeah, I mean, I'm happy. I'm happy that it's out. I'm happy that I'm having fun playing it. There are some hilarious achievements, which is something that the other games didn't really have.
Nope.
The other games didn't have any achievements or anything like that, so it's
that
kind of
was before your time trophies.
Yeah. But there's some pretty hilarious ones. There's some pretty standard ones, play the game, find all the little hidden barrels, which are like treats for Trico. And some of them are hidden pretty interestingly. And there's a couple ones that I thought was hilarious. There's one where it's if you take too long to solve a puzzle, there will be a narrator who comes in and gives you a hint. And there's an achievement to listening to all of his hints. And that's pretty hilarious. It's an achievement for sucking, essentially. But other than that, I played a little bit of Overwatch. I'm in competitive now. I'm really close to Diamond, but I just can't break through that wall because I keep getting a couple of bad games. And I'm like, if I start on a losing streak, then I want to just stop playing competitive because I feel like I'll just continue on that losing streak. And then I'll get farther away from Diamond,
Ah, the tilt.
The tilt. Well, it's not really the tilt. It's more like I'm not doing very well, and it's not that I'm getting upset at my teammates. It's like I'm not doing well. I'm getting more like upset at like, God damn it, guys, why can't you get a limbs? And then I'm like, okay, well, this isn't working out. If I continue playing, I might get a win, but I have a feeling that I'm just gonna get an L. So I'll just leave, play some quick play, and then I'll come back fresh another day. That's usually what ends up happening with me in competitive.
Okay.
But honestly, I'm really excited for the update that's coming soon, which is it's in the Sombra update, but it's basically it's a little prompt to ask people on your team if you want to leave as a group.
The Sombra update?
Not the Sombra. God damn it! Not the Sombra update. The Symmetra update.
I was gonna say.
Yeah, because I think that's going to be an amazing feature where it's like you're playing quick play or even competitive, and it's like, oh wow, I really like this team. We were all really coordinated, and we played really well. I'm gonna hit a button and be like, hey, you want to continue as a group, and then people can either join or not join. So that's going to be really, really nice, and I'm really excited for when that feature hits the game. But other than that, yeah, Last Guardian and Overwatch, two really good games. So that's what I've been playing this week. What about you, Fawaz?
So, this actually happened a while back, but because we stopped doing the podcast, and then last week's podcast was a pretty packed one, so so we couldn't touch on what I've been playing. But I finally caved in and I got XCOM 2.
Hey,
Yeah,
you finally
yeah,
did it.
I saw it on sale. I saved like $40, and I was like, okay, you know what? I'm a petty man, but I'm not that petty. And at the end of the day, I still want to play this game. Like there's no point lying to myself and being like, screw Firaxis and all this shit. But still screw Firaxis. But yeah, so I got it on sale. I got all the DLC too, and the game. I mean, at the end of the day, like I said, I played at your house a long time ago, and I knew that I was going to enjoy this game. There was very little doubt in my mind. And yeah, the game has delivered. It feels like a sequel to XCOM.
Mm-hmm.
There's enough of the old stuff in there, despite the fact that it's like the setting has changed. Oh, you're a guerrilla team now as opposed to the old XCOM team. Honestly, if you strip that away, it's pretty much still the same XCOM, right?
Yeah.
But then at the same time, they've added like some cool little new things here and there. Like you can retrain your soldiers now. Thank God. You can. Oh, forget the fact that you can retrain your soldiers, because generally I build my soldiers the right way the first time. The big one is that you can train your rookies to be a specific.
Yeah.
When I saw that you could do that, I was like, oh, thank the Lord. There was nothing worse than when you've got into late game and you're trying to bring some rookies up, and then you have to take like actual rookies on missions to go deal with sectopods. It's
like no, that ain't gonna happen.
Yeah. So you can throw them in the guerrilla tactics school and train them to become whatever class, and then after you do that, you finally make them survive, and then they become the wrong class.
It's like no.
So yeah, like it's a really fun game. I did not heed Tana's warning, and I activated Alien Hunters DLC. However, unlike Tana, I waited until I had tier 3 equipment before I fought the Alien Hunters.
So he made the smarter decision. Not gonna lie.
So yeah, I killed most of them. It took me 2 tries to kill the Viper King, but I killed the Archon and the Berserker Queen in 1 try. The Berserker Queen didn't even hit me. It was hilarious. I was dying of laughter because I was like, "This is what Tana said is too strong." Oh my god.
Yeah, I wish I had tier 3 equipment when I fought that thing, because I was shooting that thing with machine guns.
Oh my god. Did you have a team of 6 at least?
I had a team of 6.
Okay, so at least you had that. But yeah, I've seen because I watched some videos, and I've seen what the Berserker, because the Berserker didn't get the chance to do anything on me. It charged at me, I froze it, I froze it, hit it, ruptured it, stunned it, hit it, froze it again, and then killed it. So
yeah,
it didn't get a chance to do anything at all.
See, what happened to me was I froze it. It got unfrozen. Ran up to my squad. Did an AOE stun. Stunned 3 of my guys. And then all I had was a sniper and a support. They took some shots at it. Then he killed 2 of my guys. And then I decided to run. And in the process of trying to run, he killed 2 more of my guys, and only 2 people were left standing by the end of it. And I was like, okay, fuck this.
Oh my god, that is hilarious. One complaint I have with the Alien Hunter DLC is that the alien suits kind of okay. Let me rephrase that. The Viper suit looks like shit. It
The
actually
Viper
looks
suit doesn't look that
like a
good.
kid's pajamas. The Berserker Queen suit looks okay on certain soldiers. I put it on my range and it looked like pajamas on her, but then I put it on my heavy and it looked really good on her. The Archon suit looks amazing. And
Oh,
I'm
the
like,
Archon suit
why
is Arcun is sorry. The Archon suit is by far the best one.
and
Like
then the ability is so good, man. I put that shit on my sniper. Oh my
just
god.
it's just the
Anyway,
best. It's such a good suit.
it's a
Like
really good suit. Yeah. Yeah. So then I tried out the Shen's Last Gift DLC. I've never liked the mechs. I didn't like them in Enemy Within and I don't like them in this game. Um the entire concept of having a unit who's supposed to get hit just doesn't excite me. In a game with enemies that hit like SUVs. It's just yeah. So I'll mess around with it. I'll see what I can do. I'll see if I can build it in such a way that I like it. But
mhm.
I'm probably not going to. I'm probably not going to spend too much time using the
I
using the
mean,
mix.
I used the mechs a little bit in Enemy Within. I had one offense mech and then I had one like support mech.
Mm,
And the support mech actually had some pretty cool abilities like AoE heals, which is pretty strong.
that is pretty
Um,
strong.
but I ended up, yeah, it's one of those things where it's like it's weird playing with a mech because you have to go, okay, this guy is going to get hit. No matter what I do, this guy is
Yeah.
going to get hit, and it's more like he is meant to be like the big, powerful distraction, and throw it. I liked some of the abilities that the mechs had in Enemy Within. I don't know if some of them carried over to this DLC, but yeah, no, it's definitely weird. It feels really weird after protecting and guarding your soldiers for so long that you're just throwing this one guy out into the
Yeah.
wind.
Yeah, and then they try to compensate for it by giving the mechs armor, but like by the time enemies shred. A lot of enemies shred in this game. So like at least because I'm playing on commander difficulty right now, and what I've learned is that just don't let the enemy shoot. Not don't like just don't let them shoot because if even if you're in high cover, as I learned while playing at your house, even if you're in high cover across the map, they still exist. If the enemy shoots at you 100 times, at some point they will hit you,
Yeah,
and you just never want your soldiers to get hit. The enemies do way too much damage on higher difficulties. You now have a soldier who can't even take cover. Yeah, no thanks. But yeah, XCOM 2. I am really really enjoying the game. I made it to the final mission on normal, then I got bored because like once you get to the end, the game gets really easy. So I got bored and I started commander playthrough difficulty, and
yeah.
yeah, yeah, it's been fun.
That'll do it for you. But yeah, so let's get into some of our personal game awards. So
Oh
let's
yeah.
start. Let's start with our first one, most anticipated game. So I guess I can go first. So I got two. I got two because it's too hard. It's too hard. Now one of them
Oh,
is really obvious. It's gonna be Persona 5. It's
ah,
gonna be Persona 5. I am waiting with like so much excitement for that game. And the way it looks, the way it plays, and just it's so hard not to just go, well, there's a 3-hour playthrough right now in English that's just sitting
mm,
there. I could just and it's like nope, nope, nope. I want to go into it relatively, blind, I know a little bit about the game, but I know almost nothing about the story, which is great because I don't want to because the story is going to be is such a big part of that game that I don't want details. The worst thing that could happen is if a trailer came out and just like basically says everything is going to happen in that game.
well, I mean that's not going to happen.
No, that's never going to happen because it's like, but yeah, no, the definitely Persona 5, and then the other one I'm really excited for is definitely Breath of the Wild.
Ah, of
Um,
course.
because like that one trailer with Zelda possibly playable female character,
Mm,
it got me way more excited, and that airship looks super rad, And it's going to be really interesting to play a Zelda that really flips the formula. And
Oh yeah.
as much as I love the Zelda formula, it's going to be cool to be in a Zelda game where things are definitely different. There's more survival aspects, there's more switching weapons, which was actually something I never talked about. Is that I always thought it was weird that the Zelda games had all these different weapons, but there was no reason to use them because the sword was so good, you know?
That's actually a good point.
And it's like, cause like for example, like there was the hammer in Wind Waker, or there was
That thing was terrible in Ocarina of Time.
yeah, and like there was a couple other weapons as well, I think, in some of the other Zelda games, but it's like for the most part you would be using the sword. So I like that in this game they're clearly going, all right, well here's use a bunch of different weapons.
Yeah.
And I obviously Alex is always excited because he talks about how he always likes it when games use spears, because he feels that, well, this was more before he got to play Dark Souls, in which he felt spears were underplayed a lot in games. It was all about sword and board. So I'm excited to see what Link plays with a spear is like, and I honestly, those are my two. Those are the two that pop into my mind. What about you, Fawaz? What's your most anticipated?
Okay, so yeah, obviously one of mine is Persona 5. Yeah. Let's just get that out of the way. I like you. I'm really looking forward to the game, but I, unlike you, have absolutely no temptation to watch anything. I haven't watched a Persona video in months. I have no interest in knowing anything about this game.
You are a stronger man than I.
Because like for me, Persona is like Skyrim, you know. Like I barely watch any gameplay videos of Skyrim because Skyrim, the fun for me with Skyrim is actually playing it. You know, like if Capcom pulled their heads out of their asses and announced Devil May Cry, for example, you know, I want to watch Devil May Cry gameplay because like as I enjoy playing that game, but I enjoy watching it as well. But Persona, I have no interest in watching any Persona 5 gameplay at all. Like Famitsu has already given the game a high review, so I'm already sold. They have my money already. They just don't know it. April needs to come around, and I'll pick up Persona 5.
All right.
Now, my second most anticipated might be a little interesting, considering everything we've been through this year. But it's Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite.
Oh, okay, yeah. No, I can understand that.
Yeah, so I don't know if anyone knows, but last year my most anticipated game was Street Fighter V, and if anyone listens to the podcast, you can tell that did not work out very well for me. In fact, Street Fighter V might be coming up
very soon.
A little later.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert. With that said, as you know, I wanted to like Street Fighter V. I didn't like Street Fighter 4. I mean, Street Fighter 4 was the game that got me into competitive fighting games. And, you know, it always have a special place in my heart because of that. But the moment Marvel vs. Capcom 3 came out, I couldn't go back, you know? Like, I couldn't go back to slow-ass fighting games again. Like, the only other fighting game I've ever played since Marvel vs. Capcom 3 was Guilty Gear. And that's because Guilty Gear is pretty much Marvel vs. Capcom, except in 1v1 fights. So, like, Infinite, especially since, you know, similar to The Last Guardian, well, you still had hope, but I never thought I was going to see another Marvel vs. Capcom. You know, Capcom took the game off the PlayStation Store. You literally can't, I mean, until they announced it again at the PlayStation event, you literally couldn't buy Marvel vs. Capcom anymore. Stores didn't carry it unless it was a used copy. I had to get my copy off a friend because he was done playing. There was literally, you could not find this game anymore. The DLC got taken off, then the game itself got taken off the digital store. I thought the franchise was done. And then I wake up one morning and it's like Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, and sure, some things about it have me a little skeptical. And, you know, I'm gonna fully admit that, you know, it's entirely possible that this game comes out and it's garbage next year. But at the end of the day, I never thought we were going to see a sequel again. So based entirely off that, I just I can't wait. I can't wait to find out more about this game.
For me, I'm pretty excited to see this game, and obviously Marvel has led to some really amazing moments in fighting games and Evo, obviously. But you know, for me, I'm excited to see Mega Man in a game.
Yeah.
That was a very, very smart decision on their part to put him in that trailer.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one thing I want to touch on too, actually, is that with Marvel vs. Capcom 3, people kept begging for Mega Man, and Capcom refused. In fact, Capcom kept trolling people. Like, first of all, they gave Frank West an alternate costume that was a Mega Man outfit. Then they added fat box art Mega Man to Cross Tekken. And then, they, in the Days of Future Past stage, there's a big poster on the wall talking about missing mutants, and Mega Man is on the poster. So Capcom were just trolling the shit out of Mega Man fans. But like that in itself, the fact, because one of people's biggest criticism of Capcom has always been they don't listen. They just don't listen. They have their heads up their asses. They want to do what they want to do, and what fans say doesn't actually matter. So the fact that the first person they showed in Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite was Mega Man shows that at the very least, maybe all the negative backlash and poor sales of Street Fighter V has made them realize that, maybe it's going to be hard to be successful walking around with your head up your ass. So, there is that possibility. And then, like, even the press release for the game, it almost sounded like an apology. They're like, for Street Fighter V, they're like, oh yeah, this game is going to launch with a lot of single player content. We're going to have all of this, that, and so we'll see. Like, obviously I'm cautiously optimistic. I'm not just, fool me once, right? So yeah. I'm not pre-ordering this. I'm not buying it on a midnight launch. Well, I'm probably not buying it midnight launch. I'm definitely not buying it digital. But with all that said, I'm excited. At the end of the day, I'm excited. There's nothing I can do about that. Let's go.
Yeah. So let's
Marvel Infinite.
Yeah, Marvel Infinite. Definitely, I was surprised with that for sure. Next on our list, we got Best Soundtrack. So this one should be pretty easy overall. Yeah. Honestly, I'm gonna have to give it to Dark Souls 3. I know,
no,
big shocker. I wish I could, like, honestly. This is a caveat that I haven't played Final Fantasy 15. I don't know how good that soundtrack is, but I did hear some clips and they sounded pretty awesome. But Dark Souls 3, like, soundtrack-wise, it's a really, really awesome. It's an awesome soundtrack. It's got my favorite cliche, which is epic choirs all over the place. Can't go wrong with that. And that final track is so solid. Like, it's such a perfect little, like, love letter to the Dark Souls fans and to the Dark Souls as a whole. It was such a smart, like, choice for them to do that, and I really, really appreciated that. And so honestly, like, out of all the soundtracks that came out this year, the one I always think about, okay, what's the soundtrack that came out this year that I would actively go on YouTube and listen to? And that was Dark Souls 3. By far, out of all the soundtracks that I listened to this year, it was definitely Dark Souls 3 that I was listening to the most out of game, which says a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess I'm gonna have to go with Dark Souls 3. Yeah, for best soundtrack.
Yeah. Well, you're probably gonna disagree with me on this one, but yeah, Dark Souls 3, whatever. There's no point. I mean, honestly, I was second guessing even putting this award in here because it was like, there's really nothing else as far as I'm concerned. And I'm going to reiterate that I feel like the VGAs completely got it wrong with not even giving Dark Souls 3 a nomination in this regard. Because yes, similar to you, I still go on YouTube to this day. Probably last week, actually, I was listening to the Twin Princes theme. I still listen to the main menu theme, Pontiff Sullivan's theme, the Soul of Cinder theme, like Yorm the Giant's theme. Like, there's just, I would buy. I mean, if I bought albums, I would buy the Dark Souls 3 soundtrack straight up. And honestly, based on the Dark Souls 3 soundtrack, if there was a limited edition version of Bloodborne 2, because I mean, we know that game is coming at some point, that came with a soundtrack, I'd buy that version straight up, like without even second guessing, unless it's like $120 or some bullshit like that. But yeah, man, Dark Souls 3, hands down, amazing soundtrack, and absolute travesty that it wasn't nominated for. I mean, much less it didn't win. It wasn't even nominated at the VGAs. But
yeah, that was definitely a little bit disappointing on my. I honestly, it sucks because Dark Souls 3, for whatever reason, really got snubbed at the VGAs in a lot of different aspects. It really should have won Best RPG. Like it really should have.
Yeah, losing to The Witcher 3. Come on, I love The Witcher 3. I love The Witcher
losing
3.
to DLC in
Losing to
particular.
DLC, that's bullshit. Straight up.
Yeah.
That's inexcusable.
Especially since Witcher 3 didn't need any more awards.
Exactly. I mean, forget needing. It didn't deserve it. I'm sorry. Like Blood and Wine, Blood and Wine versus Dark Souls 3. Are you kidding? No. I mean, Blood and Wine is amazing. Blood and Wine is one of the best DLCs I've played ever. Just period. Blood and Wine is one of the best expansion packs I've ever played. But it's an expansion pack. Are you actually kidding me? The fact that it was nominated alone was insulting. Then they gave it the award. Yeah, let's not even talk about that right now.
We got.
I'm feeling good. Moving on to best new IP. I'm pretty sure I know what yours is going to be, and so is.
Yeah, I mean, it makes the most sense. I mean, it's one of the biggest IPs that came out this year. It's the one that people like instantly like love the characters, and it's it's got to be Overwatch. I mean, like it's people know people know the characters. Like even people that I talk to about Overwatch who don't really care for Overwatch, they know who the characters are. They know who Tracer is. They know who Reinhardt is. Like, they just know. And that's the sign of very strong branding right there. That you just know, even though you haven't even played.
Yeah.
And like overall, like it's a really nice. It's Blizzard's new IP in such a long time, and
such a long time,
and I'm glad it came out and was successful. And it honestly, this is another reason why I like the game a lot, is because this was one of the first games that me and Fawaz bought, and we both play consistently together. And we may get into that topic with another game on our list, but that's a discussion for another time. But Overwatch definitely I would say probably the best new IP to come out this year for sure. What about you, Fawaz?
Yeah. I mean, like, there's no point even trying to hide it or anything. Like, Overwatch, I mean, for God's sake, I put like 150 hours into this game. This game that only had that only had multiplayer. No single player, 22 characters at launch. 22, was it 21? 21 characters at launch, no single player. And somehow I found a way to squeeze 150 hours out of this game. Even if I stopped playing Overwatch right now, I still feel like I got my money's worth out of the game. So many fun memories, so many fun moments. It's just a very well-made game, and looking forward to seeing what 2017 has in store for the game. I really want to give this award to somebody else because I knew you were going to give it to Overwatch. But I can't even think. I mean, okay, sure, The Last Guardian. It's funny, The Last Guardian doesn't even feel like a new IP because we waited 10
Well,
years.
I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, I don't really think I could even consider Last Guardian a new IP because it's more like, I would say it's part of its brand is the Team Ico, universe, It feels like the third game in like a trilogy of Ico games,
This is true.
That's why I'm like I'm loving the shit out of Last Guardian, but I wouldn't consider it a new IP because it's not like I'm gonna expect Last Guardian 2 to happen.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Where it's like.
True.
So, but honestly, yeah, definitely Overwatch for sure.
I mean, it carried over the shitty controls and the bad camera of the last game. So yeah.
I know. It's like I get it. I get people had problems with that. It's just like I said, it took me an hour to get used to it, and then it didn't bother me.
Yeah, I'm just teasing.
I know.
But yeah, like Overwatch, amazing game. Hats off to Blizzard. Really well-made game. Polish. At this point, I'm just going to keep repeating myself, so let's move on to our next.
Biggest surprise.
I'm curious to see what you're going to have here.
I'm going to have one that you're not going to be happy with. All right. So I'm going to say, because I know you don't like how this game is being marketed, but I really like it, and I really think it's cool. I really like Death Stranding.
Oh my god.
I really like it, and every criticism you said about it, I totally get, but every time I was so surprised when that trailer came out and so interested and intrigued by it, even though it has so little in it. And I'm aware of that. There is so little in it. But every time a trailer comes out for this, I'm always like, oh wow, that's even cooler. and like looking at like crazy shit online where it's like, yeah, did you know that the trailers sync up? And I'm like, what? Yeah, the first trailer, when the baby disappears, if you sync up with these two trailers together, the baby appears in the second trailer at the exact same moment. And I'm just like, are you what? Like it's insane what people are doing with like analyzing and stuff like that. And it's just I don't know. I really liked that it's not like I was surprised and happy to see that this is not Metal Gear, you know?
Well, I mean, legally it couldn't be Metal Gear, so.
Well, no, but like I get it, but I'm glad that it's not like this isn't. I'm just gonna try and make a Metal Gear in everything but name, because to me
No,
that
we don't know what this game looks like yet, so.
I don't know. I don't. Well, I don't think it's gonna be like Metal Gear. I think he's trying to push himself away from that franchise at this point. Like he's kind of finished it. But I don't know. Like I was really happy with it. But I'm gonna say another one that isn't just a trailer. Tokyo Mirage Sessions. Because I didn't really think that I was gonna like that game as much as I did, or ended up doing, and I just was shocked that that RPG system is so much fun. Like it is so much fun to the point where it's like I want other RPGs to have this particular system. Because this is the one RPG that I have actually played in which I felt everyone contributed. When you're playing those like JRPGs, like even in Persona, you have that like one character that you never level up, so he feels like kind of useless to you. I didn't have that in this game. Every single character, because of the comboing system and how characters who are not in your party can come in and do combos and setups and stuff like that in that game, it made it so much fun. And this was the first JRPG in which I felt everyone was contributing to the fight. you know what I mean? And yeah. And I had a lot of fun with it. Like I was surprisingly, I mean, to be fair, it's no Persona. Like it's not Persona by any means, but it was surprisingly good. Like I thought this game was going to be like a 7, when I picked it up, but it turned out to be more like an 8.5 or 9 even. Like I was shocked, for sure. But yeah, I guess that's what I would say. What about you, Fawaz? What's your biggest surprise?
My biggest surprise, well, there's a couple. Well, first of all, there's the fact that Final Fantasy 15 and The Last Guardian actually came out. You laugh, but I honestly didn't think these games were coming out ever. Like, there's, what year was it? I'd probably say around like 2013, 2014. Last Guardian especially. I just checked out on that. I was like, yeah, that's never coming out. It's going to go the way of the Getaway 3 and all those other games that were announced with the PS3 that just never came to fruition.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Final Fantasy 15, they had been giving us like content over the years. It was a gameplay trailer like 3 years ago, I think, or something along those lines.
Yeah.
But the last Guardian especially, I didn't think it was ever coming out. When I was watching E3 2015 and I just saw that trailer, I couldn't believe it. I was like, damn, they actually did it.
Yeah.
They actually did it. It's like Half-Life 3. It's one of those games that everyone asks for every year, but no one genuinely believes they're going to get it any year. But yeah, we got it. And then going on with that same theme, another game that people kept asking for years that I just thought that was never going to happen. Crash Bandicoot.
Yeah.
We're actually getting a new Crash Bandicoot. Well, we're not getting a new Crash Bandicoot. We're getting the old Crash Bandicoots. And to be fair, I feel like a lot of people are going to be are going to be disappointed when they play this game, because this is a port straight up. Mm-hmm. Sure, they boosted up the graphics by a lot. Actually, I'm really impressed with how it looks.
Yeah.
But it still plays the same. Still plays the exact same. And that might be fine for some people, but I feel like some people are they've been looking back at the game with rose-tinted shades. And similar to how some people played The Last Guardian, and they're like, whoa, these controls have not aged very well. Mm-hmm. You also have to remember that The Last Guardian is, 10 years younger than Crash Bandicoot? So
Yeah,
I
like
find
even
this
even Crash,
sure.
like you might go back to Crash and it might be even rougher, to be honest.
Yeah, Crash
Yeah,
Bandicoot was one of the original PSX games. That's
yeah,
like almost 2 decades. That's over 2 decades. Yeah, I feel like a lot of people are going to be unpleasantly surprised when they finally get their hands on this. But with, I mean, like me personally, I'm
yeah.
probably not going to buy this. With all of that said, I still
It's
never
still
thought
a
this
big
was
surprise.
possible.
Yeah,
And if a re-release is possible, then a straight up, new game is still like all of a sudden I'm sitting here and stuff that I never thought was possible. I'm thinking it's actually possible. I could realistically see Half-Life 3 next year. I could realistically see a new Crash Bandicoot next year.
yeah.
Like you even look at the list of games that people used to ask for, and how many are even left on that list besides Half-Life 3?
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Well, I mean, we even got Shenmue 3 coming, which was
yeah,
another
yeah, yeah.
one
But I mean,
that
Shenmue
that
3
was
is coming
that was
2020.
yeah.
By the time Shenmue 3 comes out, Kanye West will be president of the United States. So, um, but yeah, like Shenmue 3 was one of those other games that people used to ask for, and that's coming. Like you
Yeah.
look at the list, and what's left? Half-Life 3, well, Valve games, because Half-Life 3,
Well, it's
Team Fortress 3,
yeah.
Half-Life 2, Episode 3, so just Valve.
It's
Um,
yeah. That's where it gets funny because it's like Valve just count to 3 for fuck's sake. Like
Valve can't count to 3, Blizzard can't count to 4.
yeah,
So, but yeah, like other than that, maybe Warcraft 4. There's really nothing left. There's nothing left of those games that people always wanted, and
mm,
because they've all come out. Battlefront finally came out. I mean, it sucked, but it finally came out.
yeah,
So yeah. I guess Crash Bandicoot 3 is more of a metaphor for like all the is more of a representation of
yeah,
all of these games: Battlefront, Final Fantasy 15, The Last
yeah,
Guardian, all these games that didn't realistically seem like they were ever come. Marvel vs.
yeah,
Capcom Infinite, for the love of God, all these games that didn't realistically
yeah.
seem like they were ever going to come out are coming out.
Yeah.
So that's
It,
probably the biggest surprise for me.
it
Because I mean,
makes
you know me, I'm an incurable cynic. So
you know what it makes me
so
think of? It makes me think of when Kingdom Hearts 3 got announced. And I never thought we were gonna get a Kingdom Hearts 3 at that point because it'd been so long, and yeah, now we're getting that much more regular. We're getting like announcements of Last Guardian and finally Final Fantasy 15 comes out, and it's been pretty good as far as like games that nobody expected to come out at this point finally coming out. It's a
yeah.
pretty good feeling. So we're going to continue that good feeling with our next topic. So we got most disappointing. All right. So I've got a couple that I wanted to bring out to the front. Now, one that even though we made fun of all the time, like on all the podcasts, I never wanted this game to suck,
Oh, I know what this is going to be.
and that's Battleborn. Like, I never really wanted Battleborn to suck or to, come out and be just sort of mediocre. Like, I never wanted that from Battleborn. And it's funny because we've made fun of it so much, especially this year on the podcast, where it makes us seem like we wanted this game to fail, but I never wanted this game to fail, and I was just like, at the end of the day, I was just like, you know what? This game had the one thing, and I always say this, the one thing that this game had that it should have been pushing, that it did over Overwatch, was its single player stuff,
Single player.
or
Yeah.
even its cooperative stuff. Because think how long it took for even a cooperative mode to come out. And I mean like a PvE mode to come out for Overwatch. It took a long damn time. Whereas, Battleborn had that out of the gate, and that was the one thing it had. But now, when you look at Battleborn numbers, it's depressingly small. Like, there are, like, max, like, about 100 players on Battleborn.
It's
Like,
pretty bad.
it's pretty bad. And it's a shame. It is actually a shame. The next one on our list, I think, is pretty obvious. Street Fighter V. But my beef with Street Fighter V was more... It wasn't even with the game, right? It wasn't even with the game itself. It was the fact that Street Fighter V was supposed to be the game that was going to finally be the one that I can break through this wall of not being able to play fighters very well. I'm going to get good with Street Fighter V. Fawaz will be there to support me. And everything will be hunky-dory. And that did not go the way it was supposed to. But, you know, it's a shame. And it's a bigger shame that now the game is getting better because it's slowly getting what it should have had at launch. It's getting, you know, an arcade mode. It has a single-player mode. It has a story mode. It's so disappointing that the stuff that it needed to have right out of the gate, it didn't.
Yeah.
And it is really obvious that the game, that the game, like, you know, it was rushed for Evo. Like, for certain it was rushed for Evo. And it's disappointing because if they had just buckled down and said, you know what? We're not going to have Street Fighter V for Evo this year. We're very sorry, guys, but we want to make the game better and have it released proper, then it would not be on this list. You know, it wouldn't have gone that way. That's what makes it disappointing. But Battleborn and Street Fighter V do not compare to the most disappointing game of the year. By far is Mighty Number 9. Mighty Number 9 is so disappointing on every single facet with its marketing, how the game came out, the process, the development, and the fact that, you know what? Street Fighter V is getting new content. It's getting updated. It's getting more stuff. And by the end of the day, it will be a better game in the future. Mighty Number 9 will never be a better game in the future. It will always be this really disappointing, sad story about a Kickstarter campaign that got really successful but led to a complete disaster.
Yeah.
So even with all the faults of Battleborn and Street Fighter V, and even, you know what? Even No Man's Sky turning out the way it did.
Oh, God.
Those games will at least get updates. Those games will get things in the future that will make those games better. Like even No Man's Sky, we didn't really talk about it. It's got a huge update. It's got base building now, and it's probably going to become a much better game late in the future. Mighty Number 9 will never be that. Ever. It will always be this really sad story of a super successful Kickstarter going to complete shit. And that's why I think even with all the problems of these other disappointing games, Mighty Number 9 is still the king.
You know what?
And that's my answer.
I can't even argue with your wow. You know, like I love being the contrarian, but that is such a well constructed argument. And it's funny that the two games, Battleborn, I completely forgot about them. Like, I completely forgot those games even existed. You know, it's funny that you mentioned Mighty Number 9, because I was reading an article a couple hours ago about how some of the backers still haven't gotten their rewards.
Oh.
So it's pretty fitting that you put Mighty Number 9 as your most disappointing. So, my most disappointing was going to be Street Fighter V. But after that amazing monologue by Tana, I just don't even feel like I can top that, you know, like sure, Street Fighter V had a terrible launch, but, you know, I guess the tournament circuit was really successful, and we've gotten a couple of updates to fix a bunch of the problems. All of a sudden, you know, when you're sitting there with your first world problems and someone reminds you that there's people in a part of the world whose houses just got bombed today, and you sit there feeling like an asshole. That's how I'm feeling right now, because I was there and I'm like, yeah, Street Fighter V is so disappointing. Like, oh my God. And then you're like that, Mighty Number 9 though? No Man's Sky? Battleborn?
Like,
okay. I wouldn't even put Battleborn on the same level as Mighty Number 9.
No, I wouldn't. Like, this Battleborn, I was just saying for, like, you know, brevity's sake at this point, you know, and like Mighty Number 9 though, it's like I think I said it as clearly as I could. Like, you know, Street Fighter V, as much as we've been shitting on it for the last couple podcasts with how that game launched, it's gonna become a better game in the future.
This is true.
No Man's Sky is going to become a better game in the future, but Mighty Number 9 will always be what it ended up being.
Wow, that is true. So yeah, my most disappointing was gonna be Street Fighter Five, and I guess it is Street Fighter Five because I didn't buy Mighty Number Nine. Although I was gonna buy Mighty Number Nine, but I didn't. When I saw the trailers and it looked like poop. But yeah, Street Fighter Five for me because I was okay. So here's the thing, right? At the time that Street Fighter Five was coming out, um I had had some, like the bigger, like, because the big game I used to play before was Marvel, and Marvel was dead, especially in Ottawa. Like, the competitive scene for Marvel didn't exist anymore. No one played the game. It was, by all accounts, a dead game. So my hope with Street Fighter Five was that Street Fighter Five would be the fighting game that I can finally play, and then I can play with Tanner, I can play with Jason. I had a bunch of my Nigerian friends who I didn't, I have them on my friends list. Like, I know them in person, but we don't really play games together. It would be the game that I can play with those people. It would be the game that I can play with the bigger fighting game community. It would be the fighting game that would finally combine all of the different, like, groups of friends that I play with. That was what I was really looking forward to with Street Fighter 5, And that for me was probably the most disappointing part, was that nothing I envisioned came to fruition. Sure, the fighting game community in Ottawa, they still play the game. I mean, not as much as they play Street Fighter 4, and part of it has been because of school and shit like that. But it definitely doesn't have as big of a scene as Street Fighter 4, which is ironic when you think about it. That the launch of Street Fighter 5 killed the Street Fighter scene in Ottawa. And then, as I've already mentioned, like, Jason hates the game, so, like, he's done. We're never going to play. Even if I eventually get past my pettiness and I decide to start playing the game, and then me and you can start playing the game, Jason's done. He's never touching the game again. So that was the most disappointing part for me. I played with Jason a couple times. Me and you never even played. Like, we never played. By the time you got it, I had stopped. I was done.
Yeah.
So that is the most disappointing part for me. Now, like, Overwatch came through and fixed most of those problems. Me and you played. Jason actually picked up Overwatch recently. Me and him. Yeah, I know. He plays a lot of Reinhardt. So yeah, it's funny because the three of us have never been online at the same time. That's because I've been meaning to be like that. Oh, let the three of us play together. But yeah, the three of us have never been online at the same time. So yeah. But like, literally ever since Jason, he bought it like not Black Friday. Black Friday. I always mix up Black Friday and Boxing Day. But yeah, he bought it Black Friday, and ever since Black Friday, I've been looking for a chance for the three of us to play together. But shit. And that was the other thing, like, Street Fighter 5 was gonna be that game that me, you, and Jason, we could play together. Like, there was just, I had so much hope for Street Fighter 5, like, and it all went out the window because of such a terrible launch. Like, I have never had a game that wanted me to not play it as much as Street Fighter 5 did at launch. Like, I'm like, okay, cool, you know what, whatever, the online isn't working right now, let me go to training mode. I go to training mode, and, like, the sad part is that Street Fighter 5 did a lot of things right. Like, it's hilarious because I criticize it a lot because the training mode doesn't save your settings, right? But that's the only thing they did wrong with the training mode. It has one of the most in-depth training modes I've ever seen. You can set up like frame-specific stuff in there. You can set up reversals to make sure your block strings are tight. If you want to see if someone can DP through your block string, you set them up to DP at a specific timing. And there's all this really, really nitty-gritty stuff that you can do. But unfortunately, they forgot to put the basics in there. So you can do all these crazy setups, but it won't save. And then the next time you come in, you have to do all these crazy setups again. So that is just like the perfect example of Street Fighter 5. Street Fighter 5 had a lot of it did a lot of things right. I actually like the way they handled the character DLC. The fact that you just get rewarded for playing it. And a couple months later, they finally have their daily quests. You can finally do quests and earn fight money. I mean, the name was perfect too. You can finally do quests, earn fight money, and use the fight money to buy characters. It was a perfect system. Similar to like one of the reasons why I didn't criticize Overwatch when they introduced the loot boxes was because I was like, that I know I'm going to be playing this game for a very long time, so I'm never going to have to buy a loot box. And sure enough, here I am, 8 months later, almost every single skin that I ever want, and well over 5,000 credits in my bank. Haven't bought a single loot box ever. You know, and I feel like if Street Fighter Five had come out and it hadn't been shit, I would have had a similar situation with Street Fighter Five. I would have never had to buy any of the DLC characters. I wouldn't. I mean, the story mode was going to be free. I would never have to pay for any of the DLC characters because I would just
Yeah.
made the money. So yeah, that was what hurt me the most about Street Fighter Five.
Yeah.
Was that I was really hoping for it to be the Great Uniter,
Yeah.
borrow a term from Avatar, and bring together all my friends because so many of my friends were looking forward to the game. So many of my friends from so many different corners of my life were looking forward to the game. So I was hoping that it would be that thing that I can do with most of my friends, and unfortunately, it came out and it was poop. So there you go, Street Fighter Five, most disappointing. Let's hope I'm not in this same situation in 2017, saying the same thing on Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite.
Yeah, I really hope that doesn't happen too.
For Capcom's sake, because
Yeah.
if MVCI comes out next year and it's gonna be a flawed game, like I already know. There's gonna be stuff I'm not gonna like about it. I already don't like the fact there's no assists. There's gonna be some things I'm not gonna like about it. But there's things I can like.
I'm so surprised with Capcom where it's like they can screw up with all these other like their big name titles. Games like Street Fighter V and Devil May Cry and stuff like
And
that.
then Monster Hunter just keeps delivering year after year.
Monster Hunter just keeps coming out, and there has not been a bad Monster Hunter that has come out in the last couple of years. Every Monster Hunter that comes out is a solid iteration in the series, and it's like I
often forget that Monster Hunter is a Capcom property because of how well it's handled.
Yeah, I'm always shocked by it. And they treat DLC really nicely. All the DLC is free in that game. All the DLC.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like a Capcom game.
I know. It's really shocking, but I guess it's just because it's one of those games that they don't really put a lot of. They go, we'll let them do whatever. It's not like as long as we make somewhat of a profit, they can do whatever. But
yeah, how excited would you be? Sorry for cutting you off. How excited would you be if Rathalos made it into Marvel vs. Capcom
I would be
Infinite?
so happy. I want to see, as stupid as it would be, I want to see Monster Hunter Man and his super calls in a Rathalos or something stupid like that.
Yeah, because MVC. I'm just gonna call it Infinite from now on. So Infinite is gonna be 2v2, similar to TVC. TVC had these things called giant characters. It was Gold Lythan and PTX40 from Lost Planet, another franchise that Capcom butchered, by the way.
Yeah.
So I was hoping that Marvel vs. Capcom 3 was going to have giant characters as well, but Capcom thought better of it, and to be fair, it was probably for the best. PTX40 was completely broken. However, now that Infinite is coming out and it's 2v2 again, I am kind of hoping that we get giant characters again. And if we get giant characters, I am hoping that the giant character that Capcom gets is Rathalos.
Yeah. I mean,
I was hoping for Rathalos in Marvel 3. Sorry, you were saying?
All the characters from Monster Hunter, because the thing is that Monster Hunter, the characters that stand out the most are the actual monsters.
Yeah.
So it has to be Rathalos. He's like he's basically the Pikachu of Pokemon. Like Rathalos is what is the mascot monster. He's been in every single game, and he's been on more of the box art on almost all of the he's been on the box art for most of the games that have come out. So it's like he is the one to go for. But I don't really even think it's gonna happen because it would be weird. But I would love to see it for sure.
Yeah, well, if it does happen, Lord knows we'll be on this podcast talking about it.
Damn right we will. But I think we got our last topic, so we're gonna end on a positive note. And what do we think is our game of the year? Game of the year.
Okay, I'm gonna let you go first on this one.
Okay. So this is another one where I'm like, see, for me, last year was easy for me. Without a doubt, because it's I always like it when a game affects me on not just has good interesting gameplay and design, but also has interesting story elements and has affects me emotionally. And I like that when games can do that. That's the sign of a really really good game. So I was going to
Undertale was your game of the year last year.
Yeah,
right?
Undertale was the game of the year for last year no question. But the thing is that this year I was gonna say game of the year Overwatch, because Overwatch is I was thinking of the. I was thinking like, what are the three? What are the games that came out and I'm still playing them? You know.
Yeah.
And there's only three that come to mind. It's Overwatch, Dark Souls 3, and XCOM 2. And for me, I want to say that I'm going to give, as much as I love Overwatch, I'd probably give it to Dark Souls 3 as my game of the year because it's such a great conclusion to the trilogy. Is that like so questionable, or is like what? What's
No. It's just that you're like, okay, you know what? Overwatch is my game of the year because there's only 3 games that came out this year that I'm still playing: Overwatch, Dark Souls 3, and XCOM 2. So yeah, I'm gonna give it to Dark Souls 3, and it's like.
Okay, I know that sounds a little bit weird, but let me get to I really liked Overwatch, but it's like Dark Souls 3, you know, it has that single player element, and when I was thinking about it, I was like, how many moments that I was playing that game where I went, oh shit, or like, this is freaking awesome. And there were tons. And there were tons of awesome moments and tons of like really interesting story threads in that game. And yeah, so honestly, as weird as it sounds, I think I'm going to give Dark Souls 3 the game of the year. Overwatch is still pretty damn close. Like, it is. Like, I've played the shit out of that game, and I will probably continue to play the shit out of that game. But the things that I really like seeing in a game, there was more of it in Dark Souls 3. You know? And that's just my personal taste. These are two really fantastic games.
Yeah.
But I think I'd have to give the edge to Dark Souls 3 just a little bit. Just a little bit more. But what about your game of the year?
Yeah, so first of all, I just wanted to say that, no, I don't think there's anything weird with you picking Dark Souls 3. In fact, I was surprised that Dark Souls 3 wasn't the first game that came to your mind when I asked you what your game of the year was. Personally, you know, like Dark Souls 3, I loved it, but the one thing that I disliked about it was that the New Game Plus was bad, in my humble opinion.
Fair enough.
It was way too easy. You know, for a game that's designed around difficulty, the New Game Plus was way too easy. You now pair that with the fact that a lot of the trophies weren't fun, so I couldn't get that extra juice, the extra juice that I got out of like Bloodborne, for example. I couldn't get it out of Dark Souls 3 because like most of the trophies required you to do New Game Plus, but then the New Game Plus wasn't fun at all. And then like grinding out Covenants was not fun. And then like the PvP itself was fun, but everything around the PvP was not fun. So for me, I just, you know, like after I beat the game, I never played it again. You know, when that's why I kept telling you, I was like, yo, when do you want your game back? Because I'm not playing it anymore.
Fair enough.
So for me, this is a tough one. This is actually a tough one. But I think I'm gonna go with XCOM 2.
Okay, yeah.
Realistically speaking, Overwatch is probably the game of the year. But like I gave it new IP, and everyone probably expected it to be game of the year. I didn't want game of the year at the VGAs, which I think it deserved, by the way. So I'm just gonna give it to XCOM 2 just to add a little more variety to these awards. Truth be told, it's probably over. You know what? Whatever. It's Overwatch. Like I'm looking for too many excuses not to give it to Overwatch that I think I'll just have to give it to Overwatch. Like I said, I bought this game in May. I'm still playing it. I'm probably going to play it after we're done with this podcast. Because if this timer is correct, the Christmas event is starting in an hour. So I'm probably going to, I'm like 2 hours. Because it's going to take me like another hour to download the patch. But yeah, I'm going to be playing it for most of this week. When I'm not playing XCOM, I'm going to be playing it. And I've put almost 200 hours into this game. And I'm not stopping anytime soon. You know, like that's the thing is that I don't even feel that fatigue. You know, sure I feel fatigue when I'm playing on a team of idiots, but like I still watch. Like I spent last night watching competitive Overwatch. Now I don't watch it as much because the current meta is aesthetically unappealing, but I still watch it. Like this morning, I was watching a tournament, some really, really good sets. Not last week, but 2 weeks ago, I was in another tournament, some amazing sets there. You know, like that's the thing. That's the thing is that as much time as I put into this game, I don't see any signs of me slowing down anytime soon.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah,
like these, like honestly, like if I did say like these three games that came out this year, Overwatch, Dark Souls 3, and XCOM 2. They're all super fantastic, and
Amazing games.
they're amazing games, and you should totally buy them, like, for sure. And I mean, overall, I was pretty happy with what we got this year. As far as games go, I mean, like we got some pretty good ones.
2016 has been a good year.
I think
2015 was kind of disappointing.
2016 has been a
probably
2016 has been a good,
Sorry, you were saying?
I was sorry. I was just gonna say 2016 has been a good year, but it's also had some low points.
Of course, every year is going to have its
Yeah.
No Man's Sky, its Street Fighter 5s, and its Mighty Number 9s. That's just
Yeah.
the way it goes. Every year is going to have these things. Last year, like the whole fiasco with Konami and I mean, sure, it's not a game, but that was really disappointing to see. Because also, apparently, judging from what you're saying, what a lot of people have said about MGS5, that whole drama affected the quality of the final game with MGS5. Because,
Really
apparently
did.
the game kind of tapers off towards the end.
Well,
Every year is...
Yeah,
Sorry.
I was just gonna say that in particular, it's the two things is that one, yeah, it tapers off, and that's clearly that it's like I can't work with these assholes anymore. I'm just gonna I'm just gonna wrap up what I can and leave, kind of mentality. And I don't exactly blame him for that, but it's also the fact that they were clearly sneaking in a bunch of really like almost like pay to win design elements into the game, like the fact that
Base nonsense.
the fact that base insurance is a thing is so fucking stupid. It is beyond words. I can't freaking fathom that exists, and it's some of those things where it's like if you asked anyone if that was a good idea, they would say no. But good old Konami never ceases to impress us.
Imagine if XCOM 2 had a way that you could pay money to speed up research projects.
Oh my god, that would break the entire game, and in a lot of ways it does break MGS. But anyway, that's a discussion for another time. But anyway, Game of the Year for me, Dark Souls 3, Game of the Year for Waz,
Overwatch. So yeah, to wrap up, we got another question from the lovely J Street. Shout out to J Street. This question goes, what is your favorite console controller?
This is a really good one. I'm actually, you know what? I kind of want to hear what yours is, because this one might be difficult for me.
So this is an easy one for me. I'm a PlayStation boy. I've always been a PlayStation boy. I'll probably always be a PlayStation boy. So for me, my best controller is let's go with the PS4 controller, because I feel like it took everything they learned with the PSX, the PS2, and the PS3, which is literally the same as the PS2, and they just maximized it. They didn't have any gimmicks like the stupid 6-axis controller. They didn't forget to put a headphone jack in it this time around, and it's just a little more comfortable. It's a little more comfortable than the PS3 controller. So yeah, I'll have to say the PS4, but just the PS line of controllers in general have always been amazing. That's one thing that I feel like Sony has always gotten right. You look at Nintendo, you look at Microsoft, and they've always had that one, be it the N64 controller or the infamous Xbox hamburger or the Xbox 360's terrible D-pad. There's always been that one thing, but Sony, I feel like personally, have just always gotten it right.
Sony has been, I think, a little bit more consistent with their controller design. I mean, it hasn't exactly changed, but it works. I mean, why change something that works?
If it ain't broke, right?
Yeah, and I feel like the PS4, even though my surprisingly, Alex doesn't like the triggers on the PlayStation 4 that much for whatever reason. But I honestly think they're fine, and I think they help fix some of the problems. And, I overall like it. And I mean, that's the thing. When I think about Microsoft, I still think that their best controller, I haven't held an Xbox One controller yet. So I don't know if it's that much of an improvement, but it's way better than the original Xbox. The original Xbox, the hamburger was not, even when I played it at the young age that I did, when I was playing Halo 2 at LAN parties, I was like, this controller's fucking weird. And why is there a black and white button for no conceivable reason? This is so bizarre. And of course, Nintendo has been all over the place with their controllers. Sometimes their controllers are great, and sometimes their controllers are really fucking weird. Nintendo 64 is a freaking, like, bizarre ancient artifact. And, like, the Wii U tablet fucking sucks. But like, the tablet sucks for not just for holding reasons, but mostly, like, this thing lasts an hour. Like, a tablet that has an hour-long battery life is freaking ridiculous. So yeah, I would say, I'd have to give it to, like, the PS4. I'd have to agree with you. The PS4 is a really, really solid controller. I mean, I do have that bias right now because it's the one I'm using the most right now. You know? But even then, like, I still like the PS3. Like, I still like the PS3. I could pick up a PS3 controller and still be like, yeah, this still feels good.
Yeah.
Like, if I picked up a Nintendo 64 controller, it would take some time and be like, okay, this is weird.
Like, seriously, you design a controller where you can't hit all the buttons without... You have to take your hand off the controller to hit all the buttons. Like how does that make it past, like, Q&A? Seriously.
It was a different time.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there is a bias, but even when I owned an Xbox 360, I can't count the number of times I died in Gears of War because I wanted to hit left to bring out my shotgun, but I hit down and brought out my pistol, and I died because of that. So yeah, there is a bias because I'm currently playing a PS4 controller, but I've owned all the other consoles, or I've spent enough time playing all the other consoles that I can say with a certain degree of certainty that, yeah. You know, like, the new Xbox One controllers are really good. I gotta give them credit. They've improved the D-pad and stuff. But, like, even just for consistency, I'll just give it to Sony.
Yeah. I mean, I do want to give a shout-out that I like that Nintendo got smart and have started releasing what they consider a pro controllers.
Ah, yes.
Because those pro controllers are really solid. Like, they're really good. And they are always, like... They are always better than what the consoles originally give you. Like with the Wii, the classic controller was still the best way to play those games if possible. And the Wii U Pro controller is still the best way to play Wii U games by far. And even like. I remember, like, Tokyo Mirage Sessions was like, no, you should use the Wii U tablet because there is kind of a weird gimmick where it's like the Wii U tablet's meant to be your cell phone. And, like, where you'll get texts from characters and you sort of tap them to respond and whatnot. But what I would do is I would have my Wii U classic controller, my Wii U Pro controller hooked up, and then I would just have my tablet plugged in on the side, and I'd look to the left and check it, and click, and then just continue playing the game. So, but yeah, no, I agree with you. PlayStation 4, for sure. But yeah, overall, great question, Jay Streets, and if you got a question for us, don't forget to leave it in the comment section, and we'll make sure to answer it in the next podcast. And as always, this was your host, William Liberty, and...
Fuad Muhammad Yusuf.
And we'll see you guys next time. Take care.